Hello, classmates and Professor Downing. My name is Joseph Sanchez, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the Nike market. So as we can see here, we have a equilibrium supply and demand graph, which we see the supply curve and the demand curve, and where they both intersect is considered the equilibrium point. And one of the events that I have found that Nike is going through right now is I found it here on time.com, the money section. Uh, it's talking about the Nike's foothold on the sneaker industry. It says the title of the article is Why Nike is Losing Its Foothold on America's Sneaker Market. So I was reading here, it goes, Nike's bread and butter products are sneakers for running and basketball. But more and more nowadays, sneakers are being worn not for exercise, but to make a fashion statement, or just for the sake of being comfortable in today's increasingly casual workplaces. It goes on in the NPD group report, noting that athletic footwear sales were up 8% in 2015. Researchers pointed out that Nike's core categories actually struggled. Performance footwear, particularly running and basketball, cooled off in 2005, and we saw a rise in the more casual and retro styles. This will be an important trend to watch in 2016. Basic, understated sneakers can simply be worn in more places than Nike's trademark colorful kicks. I couldn't wear basketball shoes to a meeting. It's not as accepted, Short Hill Capital Partners analyst Steve Wise said to Marketplace. Whereas a black sneaker with a white sole, Prada makes shoes like that. Every upscale manufacturer is making that. So obviously, after reading this, we can see that Nike no longer has the impact that it used to have on the shoe market. So what I believe is going to happen to our supply and demand graph is I see the demand for these shoes actually plummeting and watching the demand curve shift left. As we can see in this graph, the equilibrium point where quantity 1 and price 1 intersect. From this point, we can observe how this particular event has hammered the Nike market. The change in the market can be linked to the change in consumer tastes and preferences because more consumers are leaning on other shoe brands. The quantity demanded has decreased. We can see this in the shift from quantity 1 to quantity 2. So I believe that this shift in the demand curve is linked to consumer preferences and the determinants of demand, as well as number of buyers. Consumer preferences. Consumers are simply not wanting to wear the athletic shoes to go play basketball anymore or go running. They're more using these Nike shoes as casual footwear. So they are leaning towards more fashion trendy brands than the Nike shoe. And I believe in number of buyers because with the more consumers going to other brands, obviously there's less consumers that are going to be using the Nike product for their shoes and casual wear. One more article I took a look at that actually had a positive impact on the Nike market was I found this one on Innovation Textiles. This article was titled Nike Reduces Environmental Impact While Continuing to Grow. I was reading Nike's success as a growth company is tied directly to our culture of innovation. Today we believe that sustainable innovation that benefits the athlete, the company, and the planet will play a key role in the future of our business, said Mark Parker, Nike president and CEO, in the report's introduction. Evidence of the company's progress includes an absolute reduction of carbon emissions of close to 3% across the whole value chain from its FY11 baseline, while revenue grew 26% over the same period of time. Production also grew while the company fulfilled its strategic aim to source from fewer, better performing contract factories, from a 14% reduction from 910 to 785 factories over the last 2 years. So if we're taking a look at our graph, we see the equilibrium point of our supply and demand curve, and I believe that this specific event will have a shift in the supply curve. The equilibrium point on this graph is reflected by the intersection of demand 1 and supply 1. After Nike has come out with this information, we can see the change in the market that is reflected in the shift of the supply curve. With my analysts, I have determined that this change to the market will shift the supply curve to the right, which resembles an increase to the market. And so the determinants of supply that this market or this event to the market resemble are technology and expectation for future prices. I went with technology because the technology on how to design and make these textiles and shirts, it's getting better, which means there's less effect to the environment, which means more consumers will be swayed towards pushing them. And then expectation for future prices. With the technology getting better, it will be less. Clothes will start costing less, and more consumers will be able to and be willing to purchase these items. So that is it for my project. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.